Yeah.
Welcome back to Beyond the Buzzer. I'm Dave Glavin here with Shay Sullivan. Shay, how we doing?
Pretty good. It's been a while.
It's been a minute. I can't even maybe 6 months, a year, who knows?
We'll have to look at the YouTube.
But gonna get into some predictions for the awards this year, the All NBA teams. Gonna talk some trade rumors. A lot about Jimmy Butler right now in the news. But where do you want to start? Do you want to start with All NBA teams?
Yeah, I'll start with the All NBA teams. We were just kind of discussing that earlier before we hopped on. So
I think the first team, 4 of the 5 are solidified, and the 5th spot's up for grabs between 2 guys.
okay.
So I'll list my first 4: SGA, Jokic,
Easy.
Giannis, Tatum.
Oh, yep. Tatum's got to be in there.
And we got to note these are positionless now,
Mm-hmm.
so we don't have to fit the old mold. But I'm predicting that 5th spot goes to Wemby.
Whoa. I thought you were going to say LeBron, honestly.
No.
Okay. I don't hate that. I would put him second team right now.
He's been unreal. I think the other option is Cat, but Cat just got hurt, so I don't know long term how his health is going to be this season. Whether he'll hit that 65 games, but Wemby's been unbelievable.
Wait, did you include Giannis in there?
Yeah.
Oh, Giannis wasn't. He's one of the 4?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. And then you got Ant. Who am I missing? I have Ant in mind.
SGA, Jokic, Giannis, Tatum, Wemby.
Ant. Ooh, I got Ant's my fifth guy. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't love how he's playing. So his whole adjustment, it seems, from the offseason now is he's shooting way more threes.
And he's shooting them at a high clip.
Which is dangerous. I think this is, we're talking about a guy who got drafted number 1 overall and said he probably liked playing football. He has more fun playing football and stuff, or whatever. Basketball was just kind of his job. Yeah. Imagine if this guy, he probably didn't put in time like that much. Clearly he did. He's a first overall pick. He's a MVP type player.
Mm-hmm.
But, give him time.
He's shooting in the 40s from 3. Big improvement from last year. He's shooting almost 10 a game, I think.
Yep.
I've got him on my second team. I think team success-wise, they're a little bit lower than I'd like. Obviously, had that big move with Cat. They're in a similar spot as San Antonio. I just think Wemby has meant more to that team than Ant has to Minnesota. But I don't hate the Ant pick.
Really?
On both sides of the ball, yeah.
I get the defensive argument, but I was going to say take away Ant from the T-Wolves, but then if you take Wemby away from the Spurs, it's
they might win 10 games, maybe.
It would be last year's team with CP3.
Yeah.
So, all right, I don't hate that. Wemby's definitely on my second.
Okay.
Where do you have Jalen Brunson? He's on my second team.
I got him on my third team, but I don't hate the second team. It was between him and Donovan, and I gave it to Donovan because of how good the Cavs are playing.
Yeah, he's also on my second team, though. So who'd you bump out?
I've got my second team is Cat, Ant, Donovan, AD, and KD.
Okay, interesting.
But KD, I think we should note this right now. He's at risk. He can only miss 7 more games and be eligible. So, if he goes down for 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, he's probably ineligible.
He ain't getting it because he also the team sucks. So he's gonna rest. He'll take his time. I don't think he cares about that.
I do expect them to end up making the playoffs.
They're plus 100 right now to make the playoffs.
Even money?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we'll get into low. Do we get into the Brad Beal stuff now? Because last night, the first game I watched that game against Philly, they brought him off the bench.
Yeah. First time.
And he was fantastic off the bench. Had 23, efficient. But I've got them making the playoffs as the 8 seed.
Like, do they make the play-in and play themselves into the 8 seed, or are they the 8 seed
Yeah,
straight up? Okay.
yeah. There's a plan.
I can see that. I mean, it's the thing with Brad Beal is you traded for him to be like that second. I mean, I don't know why you traded for him because he's a scorer and he's
Bad fit.
aging, and you don't need another scorer on that team, and he's not scoring now. So it looks like what is he? He was shooting 35% from three like so far. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just unplayable.
One of the worst contracts, if not the worst in the league.
Yeah,
He's going to be making $57 million in 26-27. So the
that's
year
crazy.
after next year. Still a good score, but not a $60 million player in 2 years. I know the cap's rising, but that's insane.
It's absurd.
Yeah.
Terrible contract.
I think it's an untradeable contract at this point.
And the fact that they've come out and said they're trying to trade him just even lowers his value. I don't really get what they were doing there.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a no trade clause. He can control where he goes.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm going into the rumor mill here, but moving him to the bench, or are they trying to force him out?
Could be the move.
But who's your second team? You had Brunson on there?
Yeah, I got Brunson, Cat. Let me pull this back up. Brunson, Cat, AD, Wemby, and Donovan.
Okay.
Those are my
KD just not there because of the team. You don't think he's going to make it?
Well, I mean, I have him on third team, but just based on record at this, like, I know that's not really what it matters. The record doesn't matter a whole much, but there's so many guys in the league this year that could make a case over, in my opinion. Like, you know, he's still one of the best scorers, one of the best players that's still in the league, but consistently he hasn't. We've sort of seen that decline happening this year, where he can't win every game for them every night, and that's kind of what the Suns need. Which he's tried. He's had some great games. He's had a great year so far. But if you're asking,
I think our third team is going to be where we have some differences here.
Yeah,
I've got Brunson, and then I have Maxey, Fox, LeBron, Sabonis.
Interesting. So 2 Kings players.
2 Kings because I think they also get in.
Okay. I don't hate it. I'm surprised you snubbed Sengun.
Sengun, I don't think has the stats. I think them and Memphis, like they're 2 of the top 3 seeds. I don't think they have a guy that has the stats to make an All-NBA team.
I think it's got to be Sengun. You can't put 2 Kings guys in there and not have one from the Rockets
or Memphis.
In Memphis.
So you have Sengun?
I have Sengun. I don't have anyone in Memphis, though.
Okay.
And then I agreed with a lot of it. Yeah, LeBron.
Sengun, KD, LeBron.
Yeah. I even put Curry in there, and then Trae Young.
I think they miss it. Miss the playoffs or the play-in altogether.
I hope so. I hate them. I hate the Warriors. They stink.
How do you feel about Maxey?
That was a sneaky one. I honestly, he slipped my radar. I probably would have had him maybe interchange with Curry and Trae. But I mean, the whole 76ers, in my opinion, is like, just stay away. I can't.
Dumpster fire. Yeah.
It's a dumpster fire. The East is a dumpster fire.
I mean, seeing Steph not make it is weird. He's averaging 22, 23, and 6. They're not great. Does he get it because of the name? I could see it.
That's why I threw him in there.
One guy I left off, which is probably going to be unpopular, LaMelo, averaging 30, but I'm not a fan of him. Doesn't contribute to winning at all.
Yeah,
they're 6-17 when he plays, so I don't think that can be an All-NBA guy.
33.33% win percentage without. That's terrible. It's terrible.
Yeah. Other snubs: Dame, Cade, Kyrie, Trae, Harden, Jaren Jackson, Booker,
Jaylen Brown,
Mobley. I don't think Jaylen Brown's having an All-NBA year. Maybe all-defensive year.
Okay, all right.
But we'll get into that. That's another shit show.
Yeah.
Tyler Hero too. who is my favorite for most improved, even though he's not the betting favorite right now, but I think he should be the most improved player.
Yeah, we had someone talking about him in the in the stream. They wanted to take his threes tonight. But
Take his threes tonight. They have Golden State, right?
yep, late
On a
game.
back to back.
Yeah, at Golden State.
I think they're like 8.5, 9.5.
Let's see if I can move around. Yeah, 9.5. No Jimmy, obviously. So
Yeah. You want to get into all defense or awards?
let's do defense quick. We'll rattle
All right.
off the all defense team.
So I've got 30 names for 20 spots.
I'm probably right there with you, honestly.
Yeah. First team, I'm gonna go Wemby,
Yep.
Mobley,
Yep.
AD, Dyson Daniels, Lou Dort.
Okay, I like that. No Jaren Jackson.
I got Jaren on my second team.
Okay, and same with SGA.
I got SGA off the list.
No,
First snub, yeah.
I have my first team.
I think Jalen Williams, is also on. I think they're both, him and Dort are more important to that defense than SGA. SGA is guarding the fifth best player on the other team.
That's a good point. I forgot about that because now that I'm looking at it, I've got 3 because I do have Jalen Williams on there too. So that's too many Thunder. I didn't think about that. I have too many Thunder guys.
I think SGA's winning MVP, so he's getting his flowers, but I don't think he's top 3 in the league in steals, but I think Harden's up there too. Like, it's not really a great defensive stat.
Good point. Dyson.
But Dyson, I think, is best perimeter defender in the league. At
this point, him and
Great Barrier Thief. Come on.
Yeah. What about Amen Thompson? Did he crack your list?
Ooh. I should have had him on my snubs. I don't think he makes it.
Really?
Because he's coming off the bench.
That's a good point. I had him on my list just based on.
I love it. I think it speaks to how many great defenders there are.
Yeah.
I'll read you my second team. J-Dub, Jaren Jackson, Tatum, Jalen Suggs, and Bam Adebayo.
Yeah. I mean, I've got those 5 all spread out. I'm on the same page with those guys.
Do you think Tatum's the best defender on the Celtics? Because I was just trying to pick their best defender.
When he wants to be, yes, but consistently, no. I'd probably go Derek White.
Derek White. Okay. I mean, Derek White made a defensive team last year, so I could see that.
Yeah.
Biggest snubs, I think that honestly there should be an all-defensive third team that we could make of snubs. Dylan Brooks, Thompson, SGA, Herb Jones. If that team wasn't 5-30, I think he's a lock.
Yeah. OG?
Derek White, Jaylen Brown, OG, Rudy, Giannis, Draymond.
There's a lot of good teams, or good players
Brooke,
here.
And honorable mention, Chris Dunn. Been balling defensively.
Sneaky, yeah. Did you say Jalen McDaniels on there too?
I did not.
Jaden McDaniels?
Yeah, Jaden. I did not. I know he's been struggling offensively this year.
Terrible.
I still think he's a plus defender, but I don't think he's as locked down as he's been.
All right. I mean, I thought he's an honorable mention for me. I thought he's been decent enough. And then the only other guy that kind of is a hot take, excuse me, is Zubac. I had him on there.
I'd be fine with that. He's having a great year.
He's having a decent enough year to.
Clippers, we could touch on them. Do you think they're a dark horse to make a deep run?
I like the coach. They've got superstar,
Kawhi just came back.
Yeah. And Norman Powell has been great for them. He's been balling. I mean, the thing is integrating the youth into that team. That's going to be huge for them because right now it's a lot of old guys.
Mm-hmm.
And if they can, which they so far have, like get these young guys to be playing up and good with them, then yeah, I think they definitely could be. But right now, they're just too old. Too old.
Like, can Amir Coffey give you good playoff minutes?
That's what you need. He's got to give you 20 to 25 minutes of like really good defense and timely shooting, which
knock down an open three when Harden gets doubled. Yeah.
yes, and I think it's possible. I think they're definitely. What's their record right now? They've got to be.
They lost. They blew it. I think they were up 19 against the Timberwolves last night. Ant took over.
Yeah.
I think they're like
Currently
20 and 15.
Yeah, 20 and 16.
20 and 16. Yeah.
So they should make it. I mean, they got a good start, off to a good start.
Yeah, I mean that West 4 through 9, 4 through 10 is crazy. 4 through 12, honestly, separated by 4 games.
It's a mishmash.
I mean, there's always the asterisk with Kawhi.
Always.
But rooting for him to give you 50 games in a row.
You'd hope.
Yeah.
I mean, you just gave him, what, 3 months off? 2 months off?
35 games off.
35 games. I mean.
Yeah. I like the strategy. You want him to be around later, not earlier.
Let's see if he can even stick around later.
But let's see. Yeah. I didn't do all rookie teams just because, I mean, this year it's tough.
It's too early, too. I feel like we'll see rookies emerge as, people start getting hurt. And other teams were like, oh, let's see what we got here. Let's see what we got in this guy.
We can run through awards, though.
Yeah.
MVP, I've got SGA.
I'm going to try to check he's favored, minus 145. I think there's some voter fatigue with Jokic. Giannis, same thing. They're not good enough for him to really earn it. I think SGA is probably the best bet. Even still at minus 145, I think there's value there because the only other threat I see is Tatum. And just because they haven't given Tatum an MVP yet, they won the championship last year. He's having a good year. If they go on a run and, maybe finish, I think they'd have to really go on a run here in order to pass the Thunder in what they've done this year. Because what the Thunder have done this year so far has been unbelievable.
I think the Celtics would have to get the 1 seed for Tatum to have a chance, and he'd have to be like a considerable, not that he hasn't been their best player, but like 30, 10, and 7 in that stretch.
Yeah.
Which is possible. Jokic, it's tough because he's having his best year ever. And he's already got 3. So how are you going to say he's not? He's the best player in the world. So it's getting to that point where he could win every year. But how are you not going to give it to him in his best year? Team success, I think, is a huge part of it. So if the Thunder, we can get into this in a second, I mean, they're on pace to win 70 games. If they win 70 games, I think it's got to be SGA.
Yeah, I think if they get 65.
65? Okay.
Yeah, I mean.
I think it's also about where Denver finishes. If he can will them to a top 3 seed, 3 or 4, get home court, I think it's more of a conversation. But, I mean, he's averaging just about the same amount of points, 31, but 13 boards and 9.7 assists. And he's leading the league in 3-point percentage, which is just stupid. 47 from 3.
How do you guard that?
On 5 attempts, a career high attempts.
He's shooting 5 threes a game?
5 threes a game. Yep. He's unguardable.
I didn't realize he was shooting that many threes.
Yeah. So that's why I think it's still so close, despite the Thunder being so dominant record-wise.
Interesting. I mean,
It's
definitely I wasn't aware of how good Jokic really was playing.
It's arguably through 35 games the best statistical year of all time.
So yeah, how do you not? Oof. I still think it's SGA. I still think I wouldn't put my money on Jokic just because an injury or something.
I mean, it's a regular season award. Wins have to be a big factor, and if you're that dominant of a team, you should probably get the nod. I mean, they got the 1 seed last year. He averaged 30, and he was runner up. So I think
Exactly.
it's his year based on how the NBA does the voting.
That's fair. I'd be shocked. Personally, I'd be shocked, but
Big thing they have too is how you perform in the marquee matchups. And I think SGA's game against the Celtics the other night, that
yep,
sequence, the block on Tatum and the lob to Hartenstein,
that was sick.
beast. Yeah. Rookie of the year, tough one. I've got Edie right now. I had him preseason. Um, I think he's the most like NBA ready guy right now.
I'd agree. I think NBA ready, definitely. If I was making a bet right now, I'd probably take. Yeah, so it looks like the second leading favorite Sar. I don't really love that. I don't think he
I
wins.
just think like Sar and Misi from New Orleans, I think the teams are too bad,
Yeah,
like for them to be a legitimate candidate.
I mean the number one overall pick, Ricochet.
He's solid.
He's on a good team, and but he would have to
Yeah.
really blow up. He'd have to take a step in season, which is kind of rare. But
Yeah. I think Wells, the Grizzlies' other pick, I could see him getting it too. He's averaging like 12 and 4.
they had a good draft. They had a really
Yeah.
good draft.
Sixth man of the year. I'd go Pritchard. I mean, obviously he's the favorite. I think Hunter's got a case the way he's been playing.
Crazy, crazy
Um,
year.
I wonder if he's a trade candidate though.
DeAndre Hunter.
Yeah.
I mean, just based on what we saw Mikal Bridges go for, that's my closest comp to him. Like he can
A
shoot it a
lesser
little bit.
version.
Yeah, lesser, way lesser, but
Yeah.
I still think that's an expensive guy to go after. If
I
the
think he's like a 2 first type guy now too.
yeah.
Yeah. Do you disagree with Pritchard at
No,
all?
no,
Yeah.
I mean, how does he not win it? He's having
He's running away.
yeah.
Same with Depoy and Wemby.
That one, I'm trying to look right now. Is he big? Only minus 360?
I mean, Mobley has a case. Jaren for his second. I
They
think
have
the
cases,
4
but
blocks a night.
yeah, it's Wemby. It's Wemby. He's the face of the league. They're gonna give him an award right away. I mean,
Yeah.
did he win it last year?
No, he was the runner up.
Runner up. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
him this year.
Most improved, touched on this earlier. I've got Hero. I think Cade might be the favorite right now. I don't hate that pick either, but you know how I've been in the past. I think Cade has been this good. We're just seeing it now because he has competent NBA players around him.
It's true. It's proved me pretty wrong on him, but not
And
yet. I'm
a
not willing to die
competent
yet.
coach.
Yeah, which is funny because Monty you'd think was competent, but
2-time coach of the year, and he's got Killian Hayes playing over Jaden Ivey.
yeah, that's looked terrible. Jaden Ivey looks good. He looks like a real player in this league.
Just got a bad injury, but he'll be back.
Yeah. My guy for this one's Jalen Johnson. I've been all over him all year.
Mm-hmm.
He's been unbelievable. Like literally come out of nowhere. But again, he's just not enough of a name, in my opinion, to win that type of award. Like they'd rather give it to a former first overall pick. I think, Cade.
I mean, we're talking Jalen Johnson last year, 16, 9, and 4. And now he's 20, 10, and 5. We look at Hero. Hero last year, 21, 5, and 5. And now he's 24, 5, and 5. So not as big of an improvement as I thought. Cade last year, 23, 4, and 7. and now he's 24-7 and almost 10 dimes.
Yeah, that'll do it. That'll do it.
Yeah.
So it'll probably be Cade.
I don't like it, though. Like, most improved should not go to a number 1 overall pick. He's expected to be elite.
Like, he's just developing on course at this point. But
yeah,
it'll be interesting to see if the Pistons are any good. That's kind of, do they make the playoffs? So they, that whole deal.
I think it's good for the NBA when they're relevant.
Yeah, definitely.
Former 3. I mean, they 3 championships in the last 35 years.
Yeah, one this decade, or not this decade, but this century at least.
Yeah. Clutch Player of the Year, I think, is kind of a weird award to pick. I'd give it. I think Jokic is the favorite right now. I'd give it to Ant. Just based on how he's been in the last 3-4 minutes of games. I feel like he's hitting a ton of clutch threes.
Yeah, the odds are saying Jokic by a mile. He's even money.
What's Ant at?
Plus 1,200.
Oh.
But he's the second favorite.
Oh, okay.
So.
Huh. Coach of the Year.
Yeah.
I think that's an easy one right now with the way Cleveland's playing.
Kenny.
Basically the same roster, but completely I don't even know the word for it. Revolutionized on the offensive end.
Completely different.
Yeah.
We got someone saying Jokic 25 points tonight. They play the Celtics. That'll be a good game.
25? Yeah. I mean, that's got to be minus 300, minus 400.
That's good. I don't know. That's a good point. I think he definitely scores 25. I don't know who's stopping him for the Celtics. I mean, the Celtics, they chuck threes, so I take his rebounds. And they don't – yeah, I'm all over him. I'm all over that.
Yeah. Do the Cavs or the Thunder win 70 games?
Yeah. Yep. I think both of them could. I'm not even going to say one of them definitely for sure. Like the league, if you look at the standings, the East is like, you got your really good teams, and then it's just a bunch of bleh, and then it's garbage.
Garbage at the bottom.
Garbage. So, like, the Cavaliers could easily clean up on 4 through 10. The teams 4 through 10 are nothing special at all. And then you're talking about the worst teams in the league. And then same with the West. The West is a little different, obviously. They're definitely tougher, but, I mean, it's just – I think
the Thunder – yeah, you go.
No, I think the Cavs probably have a better chance now than looking at it.
Yeah. The Thunder are 27-3 when they have a center, either Hartenstein or Chet, and they haven't played together yet.
Okay. When's Chet back? He's back in a month or two?
Still no update, really. It was supposed to be like 8 to 12 weeks. I think it's been 8 weeks. But I haven't heard anything. They're, I think, 20-1 with Hartenstein, 19-1, something like that.
Wow.
But matchup of the year, I think I sent it to you on Twitter tomorrow. Yeah. Cavs Thunder. Second highest combined win percentage. That 2016 Warriors Spurs matchup.
Take me back. Take me back to those days.
We were having that conversation the other day.
Yeah, I mean, what would you rather watch? 2016 Spurs versus the Warriors, or these two markets are tiny. No one cares.
2016 Spurs Warriors, but as soon as it flips to 2017, that's when I'm disagreeing.
Okay. I mean, that's fair, but we're talking history. Like, there was history on the line. The Warriors were 40-4, something like that.
40-4, yeah.
Like, we're talking history. There's nothing like that surrounding this game.
I don't know. I mean, it was a better combined win percentage matchup than I think it was the 72 Lakers versus the Bucks when the Lakers were on a 33-game win streak or something.
Yeah.
So I guess it doesn't have that type of history attached to it, but I think it's a historic defense. The
Yeah.
Thunder are playing tomorrow.
That's been fun to watch. Their defense is just it's how they're winning games.
They've got Celtics had 65 points at the half the other night.
Yep.
And had 27, was it? In the
27.
second half?
27. It was like 15 and 12.
That's for this team, we've never seen anyone hold that team to 27 points in a quarter, basically, let alone a half.
That's scary. If I'm the Celtics, and I've been seeing this. Maybe this is a pod topic for another time, but people were saying, remember the MLB 10 years ago?
Yep.
It was all the analytical nerds. There's all these people saying analytics. Spin rate on the ball. This guy is going to be good because he can. His spin rate's good. Whatever. And then the game completely declined because people don't want to watch analytics. People want to watch talent and exciting TV. I think we're about to embark on that journey, unfortunately, in the NBA. Where, we're just analytics, three-pointer, and people just aren't going to care to watch. It's one of the best games of the year. Thunder, Celtics, they don't play often. They're in two different conferences. Do they play twice? I know they at least play once.
They do play twice, yeah.
So they play twice. This is one of those matchups. And you have a team putting up 27 points in a half. How do you go back in the locker room and say, you know what, guys, that was how we needed to play. It's okay. If we do that 10 more times, we'll win 8 of those 10. Analytically, maybe that's the case, but emotionally, mentally, we've just watched what happens. They can't get themselves out of the slump, the Celtics, when they're in the slump. And they just keep, it's lazy. It's it's an easier shot than having to go drive to the paint, make a 2-footed jump stop and dish to a guy, and he's gonna have to make a physical finish. That's what they needed. You need points. And it was pathetic. That was hard to watch. It was bad.
I think they were 8 for 40 from 3.
No one watched that.
3 of 20 something in the second half. Some open looks that just didn't go, but obviously not all great looks. I think it's a tough conversation because the Celtics and the Thunder are probably the two teams that use analytics the most.
Yeah.
And it's led to their success.
But from a product standpoint,
I agree. I think it's also the way the product is marketed. That game should not have been at 3:30 on a Sunday during Week 18 football. They knew before the year that these two teams are going to be powerhouses. It doesn't take two geniuses to not put that game where it was.
Move it a day earlier.
TV. Yeah. What are we doing?
Put it on a Saturday at 7.
ABC primetime game, Mike Breen on the call, Celtics Thunder. The NBA has done an awful job of marketing the Thunder. I don't really know why. I guess Oklahoma City, it's a tough market, but they had a chance to do it. We were a lot younger. I don't know if they did it well when it was KD, Russ, and Harden. No. But it's a great – they got some of the best fans in the league. That place is always hopping.
Yep.
There's nothing else to really do around there. They love the Thunder.
Yeah.
But I think it's a missed opportunity, and they have to figure it out because they're not going anywhere anytime soon.
No, yeah. And, for the next 5 to 10 years, you could argue.
Yeah.
So, I don't really get it. I don't know. That game needed to have some meaning behind it. And it did for the players, the coaches, I bet. But as a fan, you couldn't tell that game was so important because, like you said, NBA, it's not the best. It's not the best product they can put out there.
They do a bad job of marketing games to mean more than they would in a regular season context. It's just one game, but that's a potential finals matchup. It only happens twice a year.
Yeah.
You have to give it that type of vibe for fans to get attached to it. Yeah, it's never going to compare to the NFL with the urgency of every game. In the NFL, the games just mean way more. But you can build it up to be more.
Definitely.
But they just failed at that. But tomorrow, I mean, ESPN game, Cavs Thunder. That's a step in the right direction.
It is. I mean, tonight is the Denver Celtics game on TNT.
Yep. So I think they obviously have to backload their primetime games a little bit in the season because of the NFL. Like, you're not going to beat the NFL in the US. So I understand that part, but just wait to have that Thunder Celtics game until the NFL's done.
It's not that hard.
Yeah.
It's really not that hard. And
people that get paid a lot of money didn't come to that decision.
No. And quickly, the only other thing I could say about the product is the reffing is just disgusting.
Extremely inconsistent.
Oh, like I was watching what was it? Warriors Kings, and it was that clip of Draymond screening Ellis twice maybe, and like there's just no consistency. The second one was absolutely a moving screen. Like he lowered his shoulder, he decked him.
Drilled him.
The first one, I would say, probably wasn't an illegal screen, but they called that one. And
I don't know how Kerr can say he's flopping.
Exactly.
Draymond's not a small guy. We know he's aggressive, as aggressive as anyone else in the league. You're going to feel every time he screens you.
Oh, yeah. Like, he knows it, too.
But I think it's also on the ball handler to wait for the screen.
It's just poor fundamentals that turn into – because these guys probably – I mean, yeah, they know how to wait for a screen and learn. But, like, if you are 6'6", and can dribble and jump and shoot and just – you're like this freak athlete, I mean, you probably can go through high school and college and not really learn, like, oh, I got to wait for the – like, that part I think is lacking in the talent-wise. But then secondly, it's like Steve Kerr up, send him to the bench. I'm tired, and this is probably coming from a ref, so it's biased.
Yeah.
I'm totally tired of the complaining, the 30 seconds to a minute. We're watching players yell at refs. Tee him up. We're not talking to the refs. I think that would solve a lot of things because as a fan, when Draymond throws his hands up and Steve Kerr is making a huge scene, I'm watching that saying, wow, they just got gypped. Like the refs suck. But then you actually watch the play and it's like, well, what do you want them to do there? I don't know. It's just creating a bad culture for the whole end of the league. Like, what was the one? I mean, we had Pat Bev bringing the camera over.
Disrespect.
In this
disrespect. But that was an awful missed call.
Awful. So find the refs that did it. Say, hey, you got to go through class. Like, that's a game-changing call. You completely missed it. Hey, everyone, this person's going to be on leave.
It was a game winner. That's a game-winning drive. Yeah.
You can't miss that.
In Boston.
But that's the thing. We found out that ref had, like, Boston ties. So it's like, I don't know what we're doing. We got the reffing and the culture around the refs just leads to a frustrating product sometimes.
It's never going to be perfect, but it has to be more consistent.
Yes.
And the complaining, I agree 100%. Like,
it's
I'd be very interested to see the players reffing.
Oh, yeah.
Just so they don't understand the perspective.
Yes.
Of being in that position. Obviously, they know the game. They play the game very well. Mm-hmm. But it's a lot different when you're wearing stripes.
Yeah, like when I'm reffing a high school game, I played high school basketball. I know, like, I've played it. These guys are like old white dudes or, old guys who've probably never even played college level, maybe some of them, but like playing at that high of level too it's harder to officiate if you've never played it. And I think
absolutely
the players just got to take a step back and just say, hey, we can't be getting on these refs. Like, I don't want to see who was it? It was like Fred VanVleet just happened to, he bumped into a ref and the guy threw him out.
Fred's got a history too with the refs.
But excuse me. There was one other one that just happened. Like, the ref basically walked into the player and he threw him out.
Yeah.
And it's like, number one, player, it should be a T right away. We're not hearing you complain. The call's over with. The complaining does nothing. I don't
Yep.
know. That's just a rant. It's frustrating to watch.
Yeah, no, it definitely contributes. I think one more thing is there should be less timeouts. There already is so many TV timeouts.
Yeah.
It just makes it less entertaining when we're going to commercial again.
I'm
But
switching the channel.
it's a tough sell because that's ad revenue that the league wants. But like if you compare it to the Olympics, the timeouts were not as long. I mean, you couldn't even like get up to go do something at a timeout or you'd miss something.
True. That's how it should
And
be.
it's a better product, in my opinion.
Yeah. And I'm ready to adopt those rules too. Get rid
Keep
of
the
the
rules.
defensive 3 seconds. That was put in like a long time ago.
I don't know. I'm not a fan of the no defensive 3 or no goaltending.
I mean, I love that. Less 3-pointers.
Yeah, but a guy like Wemby, like
Yeah.
he becomes that much more valuable.
Great.
That's
what we want. We want these guys to be like superstars. We need to market them.
He's getting marketed as such.
Yeah, but this might sound wrong, but he's like a foreign-born player. Like it's tough to market that type of player in the United States. For the global product, I'm sure it's great.
Yeah.
But
I think if you take a look at the number 1 overall picks from like 20 after AD, right? 2013 to until 2020 until Ant, right?
Yeah.
Or was Ant 21? 2020 NBA draft.
It's all weird.
Ant was 2020.
Okay.
If you look at 2013 draft through 2019 draft, you got Anthony Bennett.
Yep.
We all know how that ended up. Wiggins, Cat, Ben Simmons, Markelle Fultz, DeAndre Ayton, and Zion.
How many of those guys have worked out?
6 years of potential American. I mean, they're not all American, but like that next generation of American stars that flopped.
It's very true.
So they're forced to market the European stars because there isn't a great wave of American stars coming up.
Yeah, I mean, we were just talking about youth basketball too. I mean,
exactly. Yeah, it's
what's going on?
A look in the mirror for grassroots basketball in the USA. And one silver lining: the next 2 drafts are loaded with U.S. born talent.
Yeah, Cooper Flag's from Maine, right?
Yep. Flag. You got Ron Harper's son, Ace Bailey. And then the 26th draft, DeBansta, Massachusetts guy.
Yeah.
Boozer's son, who's a beast. And then this other guy, Darren Peterson. He's going to Kansas, beast. I think there's always been, at least based on the research I've done, like these lulls in ratings. It's a common thread, but I think it'll rebound.
All right. Well, I hope so.
Yeah.
Because I think, I'm going to be honest, I've watched the least amount of NBA basketball, at least, in probably the last 5 years, this year.
Yeah. No, I think you have to find games every night that are interesting matchups, and some nights there's just a lot of duds.
Yeah, blowouts.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. I mean, it's tough. I mean, it's a weird thing because the league, talent-wise, is probably more talented than it's ever been.
Absolutely.
But now it's just about making that a good product to market to people.
Yeah. I think a lot of teams try to copy how the Celtics play, and you can't copy how the Celtics play if you don't have 5 snipers.
Exactly.
So it looks ugly.
And even these awards that we just ripped through, like they could make a show about that. Like get 4 talking head analysts to come together and put together their own list. And like, all right, here's what we came up with. And then like that's 2-hour show. Like get people excited about like, oh yeah, who's gonna win? Like the 10th defensive player of the year is going to get mentioned for these defensive teams. Like people will start learning names. Like I'm sure a lot of people, especially on the defensive end, like you look at the top 10 people odds wise, the common NBA fan could probably name 4. And if you asked them what team they're on, they probably couldn't tell you. I mean, that's where we're at. So
I think that's a whole nother discussion, possibly an entire pod. The coverage and the analysis of the NBA is the worst by any sport. When you're talking about who leads it, it's not even close to NFL, MLB, or the NHL.
Oh yeah, college football, like all that.
Yeah, anything. The NBA is at the bottom.
Yeah.
Stephen A, I think, spearheads that. Just awful for the game.
Terrible for the game.
Perk. It's ESPN as a whole. Their NBA coverage is terrible.
Yeah, and TNT's scrapping theirs this year, right?
And I mean, inside the NBA is not going anywhere. They're going to be on ESPN now.
Well, that's good.
So
we'll see how that goes.
I'm optimistic, especially with NBC getting back into the fold because they used to have like the big logo in the finals.
Yeah.
And that type of coverage. When you see that film, it looks legendary. So I'm interested to see what they do. But we'll see.
Yeah,
that starts next season.
It's exciting. The 2 worst places to work: ESPN and now we know Fox. Like that's our. I mean, it's just a joke. It's a joke.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything else you wanted to touch on?
I think that's just about it. I want to try to see. We went through the awards. The Suns were plus 100. That was the only one I got. Like, do you think the Suns make the playoffs or not? You said yeah, right?
I think they get in. Like, it's tough though. Like, look at the standings right now. So I think 1 through 4 is a lock. Thunder, Rockets, Grizzlies, Nuggets. The Mavs, I think, have an asterisk because that depends on Luka. I mean, he's had this calf issue twice already this year.
Yeah.
The Clippers, I feel like, are in. The Lakers, I feel like, are in the same boat as the Clippers. And then you can keep the Mavs in that tier. Even in the Nuggets tier is fine with me. But the Warriors, T-Wolves, Spurs, Kings, Suns, that's the group. One of those teams makes it in.
Yeesh.
It's tough. So I think it's too early for San Antonio.
Yeah, they'll be bummed.
Golden State,
Out.
I think if they don't make a move, like a Jimmy Butler move or any significant contributor move, I think they're out.
Yeah, because Kuminga's out now for a week or two, a couple weeks.
Kings have won 5 in a row. Moving in the right direction. Would I take Phoenix over them? Yes.
Yeah.
And then the T-Wolves, Ant's fantastic. I'm not a fan of Julius Randle. Julius Randle's giving me DeAndre Ayton vibes. Doesn't want to be there.
No, he doesn't care. He doesn't care.
So if that's your second best player, I'm not giving you a chance to make the playoffs in the West.
No. I mean, it's going to come down to winning regular season games. So Julius Randle clearly has shown he doesn't care.
Yeah, half-assed effort. Give me Phoenix out of that group.
Man, it's ugly, but I agree. Barely.
Because I hate Phoenix too. Like I hate how they're constructed.
Makes no sense.
We'll see if this lineup change kind of balances their minutes better. I'm interested to see them play against an actual. I mean, they destroyed Philly with no Embiid, but
anyone can do that.
Yeah,
Philly sucks. Another awful contract, Paul George.
Paul George. It's sad what happened to Paul George. He sits in the corner and takes contested middies.
Yeah.
$200 million.
That's on Philly. I mean, that's just
stupid. You got to know at that point.
Yeah, there was
He was an
signs.
all NBA type player last year though, so it's tough.
Yeah, I mean the signs were injuries. Like he just
Yep.
was constantly hurt.
Always like a knee or a foot.
Something. Even when he's healthy, you can tell he's not like fully healthy.
Yeah. Doesn't have that same. I mean, Paul George used to be an elite driver.
Oh yeah.
Doesn't have that same burst.
Bring me back. Bring me back to those
There's
days.
a new wave coming. Appreciate everyone tuning in. We have to get this to be more regular.
Yeah, I was just gonna say let's do this next week.
Schedule wise, we'll have to might not be the same day every week, but try to get this weekly.
At least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we'll end on that. See you next time.
Appreciate you all.